Hello, my name is Armando Gutierrez Caballero, and for this presentation I'm going to compare two essays written by Gloria Anzaldúa, which are La Prieta and How to Train a Wild Tongue. Both pieces bring up the idea of identity. The only difference is the perspective they use, and I personally find that very interesting. I'm going to show you how the texts connect, and I'll also talk a little bit about the author. First, I'll talk a little bit about Anzaldúa's background. She was born in 1942 in the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas, and she practically grew up working in the fields as a migrant farm worker. Her experience as a Chicana and a feminist is very prominent and present throughout all her work. She wrote about life in the borderlands. She used that term not just to refer to a physical place, but to all those spaces where cultures, languages, and different identities clash. And this concept is, in fact, the basis of what this entire analysis will be about. Continuing, we'll start with the essay La Prieta, which is her personal perception of identity. The main point that is shown to us is about the great racism she suffered. This is noted when she mentioned that her grandmother would shed her to see if she had the sign of the Indian, and also that her mother would tell her not to go out in the sun so she wouldn't get dark, making her feel bad about her color and her culture. This essay also talks about the family conflict she had and how she was afraid to write it because she was worried about turning her mother into the villain. It was hard for her mother to understand her abnormal identity, and it became painful to receive criticism from the people she loves. In the end, she finishes by creating her own space, El Mundo Zurdo, where everyone can be themselves and not be judged for it. Unlike La Prieta, which talks about the body, the essay How to Tame a Wild Tongue is primarily about language. The most important point that is mentioned is the part about I am my language. And this helps us understand that if people insult her language, they are insulting her too, since language is inseparable from our identity. In the text, she also mentions the linguistic terrorism she suffered. She was reprimanded in her school for speaking Spanish, and even her own mother was pressuring her to speak American to get better job opportunities. She defends herself by mentioning that her language is a living language and a border tongue, refusing to let anyone tell her the correct way to speak. To conclude, I'll talk about the comparison between these two texts. Their main similarity is that both expose internal oppression and the pain caused by criticism from people. And in both texts, the feeling of being wrong becomes from her own people, her family judging her skin color, or other Latinos judging her accent. The difference in this text lies in the focus. In La Prieta, she offers us an autobiography that explores her race, her sexuality, and her economic status, whereas in How to Train a Wild Tongue, she deepens the subject of the importance of her language and how it is repressed and frowned upon by everyone, trying to force her to get rid of her Chicano Spanish and speak English. In summary, La Prieta is about who she is, and Wild Tongue is about the language she speaks. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.